as contentment is a treasure that never depletes, is a never depleting treasure. Because if you're content with the little that you have, you'll be happy. You could be a millionaire. If you're not content with what you have, you'll never be happy. And this is the problem that we have today, with the marketing industry continuously promoting certain things, pushing us to buy certain things that we don't need. Things that we are told define our happiness. You have an iPhone 6, then suddenly iPhone 5 is a piece of junk. It is. And you feel that, well, you were happy with iPhone 5, but the moment iPhone 6 comes out, you feel that I could never be happy unless I have it. You go to the mall, you find this nice jacket or nice dress, whatever, you were happy. And the moment you find that, this is it, that defines my happiness. I could never be happy until I have that. See, this way of thinking continues. And I think especially now with the age of communication, you get exposed to so much, you'll never be satisfied with what you have. Never. No matter how much you have, there's always better. We're always looking at something that others have that I don't have. And it's always greener on the other side, of course. There's a beautiful verse in the Quran that says, do not extend your eyes to that which we have blessed others with. Do not extend your eyes into that which we have blessed others with, because you'll never be satisfied with what you have. And the Prophet said, if you were to compare, always look at those that are beneath you. This will help you appreciate what God has given you. Otherwise, you'll never be satisfied. Because I'm always looking at what others have that I do not have. See, this general mentality, and there are, of course, seasons, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Neighbor's Day, Friend's Day, great occasions, but they become marketing. I mean, Christmas, everybody knows, it's nothing but marketing now, just nothing but shopping sprees. That's what it is, and it's promoted as such. That's the problem, and we're buying into it. Please, like somebody says, opening our head, and somebody, is spitting inside. That's what we're doing. Nobody likes to spit in their face, but we're letting everything spit in our brain, actually, by exposing these things and internalize them. And this is really one of the biggest part of the problem when we're dealing with the environment, is excessive consumerism, buying certain things that we do not need. We do not need. We can live without, and putting too much value over these things that this defines my happiness. And of course, the human worth is defined in financial terms, right? His worth, his net worth is this. I like a statement made by one of the companions' friends, Prophet's friends. He said, your worth is not determined by what you own. It's determined by what you do. That's the worth of a human being. It's not by money. You can tell me 1 million, 1 billion, I would say this is nothing. I'm worth more than $1 billion as a human being. Every human being is worth more than that. But again, the connection is with this mentality that we are told you're not worth anything unless you have the latest of everything. And we buy and we consume and we leave a big footprint behind us into the environment. But going back to the Islamic teachings, connecting with the environment is considered an act of worship. Not a worship of the environment, but a worship of God. You connect with God through the way you preserve what He entrusted you with on a temporary basis. It doesn't belong to you. The earth does not belong to me. In Islam, actually, even your body doesn't belong to you. It was given to you. It was entrusted with you. And as such, we preserve it as much as we can. And back to the verse that I said, you're only accountable for your own actions. I thank you for listening. Let me see if I get it right. God's peace be with you. Did I say it correct? Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Good evening, dear brothers and sisters. I thank you for coming out this evening as we engage this interfaith dialogue. His Lordship Bishop Vance would have been here, so I'm representing him in a way to be able to enter into the shoes of Bishop Barnes. I feel he's a very big one, but let's see what he can do. I used the Laudato Si as my instrumentum laboris, and with it, I will present the questions already asked. In Laudato Si, it is not difficult to locate reasonable arguments, biblical evidences, pastoral justifications, sacramental resources, and personal witnesses in the lives of the saints and in the living tradition of the church that evidently justify that Christians do care for the earth, not as a means, but as an end. Because when nature is viewed solely as a source, a means of profit and gain, this has serious consequences in our society. In outlining how Christians should relate with the earth, I need to begin by underlining the words of Pope Francis in this regard, when he said, Christians are called to an ecological conversion, whereby the effects of their encounter with Jesus Christ becomes evident in their relationship with the world around them. Thus, living our vocation to be the protectors of God's handiwork is essential to a life of virtue. It is not optional or a secondary aspect of our Christian experience. The words of the Holy Father, the care for the environment, our common home, is a moral imperative, which is not optional. No Christian is worthy of the name if we refuse to care for the gifts the Lord has given us, as enshrined in the Hebrew Bible and in the New Testament, from Genesis to Revelation. In Jesus, who the author of the book of Hebrews regarded as the author and finisher of our faith, there is no doubt that to care for the earth constitutes a way of relating with Jesus. Because in Jesus, in him, all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. We read the prologue or the Christological hymn in Colossians chapter 1 verse 16. He is the firstborn of all creation, which suggests that reverence and honor due to created things, reverence and honor are due to created things because they are of Christ. Jesus, as we know, in his ministry, in his apostolate, he was very close to nature. He used nature to give fundamental moral truths to his followers. If you read the Sermon on the Mount, especially chapter 6, from verses 25 to 30, you will see how Jesus used the birds of the air, how Jesus used the lilies to give strong moral teaching about not worrying about the things of this world. In Matthew 6:25, he said, therefore I tell you not to be anxious. Look at the birds of the air. Birds, in this sense, becomes models of patience and endurance. In Matthew 6:28 to 30, and why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his glory was arranged like one of these. There you can construct an ethics of natural beauty and aesthetics. In the teachings of Jesus, he also uses the resources from the environment that will effect a change in the socio-economic and political life of his audience. Very well, for example, in the parable of the workers in the vineyard in Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 to 16, people were called to go and till the ground, to work hard so as to convert the resources around them to become means of livelihood. Parables like that of the bad steward in Luke chapter 12 suggests, however, that we will be accountable for what we have done and failed to do with the gifts from our Mother Earth. And very interesting, Jesus went up to the mountain to pray. Last Sunday we saw him going into the desert and spending 40 days and 40 nights to pray.